What's up, guys and gals? This is Ryan Games, and today we're going to be taking a look at fittings for EVECOs. I had some requests for just to go over how you fit ships and how you tell if it's an armor, shield, tank, and etc. So without further ado, let's take a look here. So I've got a bunch of beginner ships in my cargo hold here, so I'm just going to go through all the trainer cruisers and show you how to fit them, how to tell if it's a shield or armor tank, etc. So let's go ahead and get in a CARACAL trainer. Let me pull up the fitting here, and so the first thing you do is you go into your fitting screen, and to tell if it's a armor or shield tank, you go to your defense, and you can look here at shield hit points are at 3530, armors at 2444. So a good way to determine if you aren't familiar with the ships is look at what has more. Does the shield have more hit points, or does the armor have more hit points? So here we have shield has about 1,000 more hit points. So based on that, you could say, okay, well, this is more likely a shield tanking ship. And just for your information, most Caldari ships, if not all, are shield tanks. So for the trainer here, for the CARACAL trainer, we know that we want to do shield tanking. And so for the weapons, what I recommend is the rapids. Let me go down here and find some. And what you want to try to strive for is to get the highest tech level that you can. So for me, it's tech level 5. And if you're in this ship, probably tech level 5 is the best. It goes, I believe, 3, 5, 7, and then you have the faction versions. But if you're just getting into these ships, you're not going to be able to afford the faction fits. So you want to go with the rapids for the CARACAL trainer, because it will allow you to kill frigates and to have the most DPS that you can. So to fit, you just click on it, click fit, and I'm not going to fit everything, but I'll just do one, and I'll show you. With my skills, I get about 18 kilometers. If you're just getting into this ship, you're going to be doing T5s and T6s, and for those, I recommend that you just tank them. If you want a good video on how to use the CARACAL trainer, check out Scoundrel Gaming. He's got a pretty good one for how to tank, and I'm going to use his setup for this ship. So in the mids, on all my ships, I go with NOS, medium NOS. They are a bit expensive. If we take a look here, they're about, I'd say around $1 million each. So if you're just getting into it, you might want to go for, well, I recommend going for these if you can afford it. So if you can't afford it, I guess just leave them blank, but it's going to increase your capacitor output, which is needed when you're tanking. So let's go ahead and fit this, and I'm going to fit both. I'm going to fit both of these because we want to see our capacitor right here. We want to make sure that we have enough capacitor. Okay, so for the lows, I'm going to do 2 shield boosters, since we found out that this ship is a shield tank. We want medium shields, and then I recommend doing an afterburner. If you look here at the medium afterburners for the smuggler, if you don't have one, they're not that expensive. They're only like 200,000 ISK, 130,000, and the reason they're so cheap is they drop like candy out of a pinata. I mean, they drop very regularly if you do storylines, and a lot of people farm storylines. Check out my other video if you want to see how to do that. So, Smuggler Afterburner, if you don't have that, you want to do the Tech 5 afterburner, and that's going to give us 1 minute and 17 seconds of capacitor, which isn't great, but we're not going to have to use our shield boosters the entire time. And what you want to do with the afterburner is just orbit like the biggest ship that's in the spawn. If you're doing T5s and T6s, that's going to be a cruiser, so you just orbit that, put your NOS on them, and then fire your missiles. So let's go ahead and move on to the next ship. Let's go with the Stabber. And I'm just going to strip the fit-ins on this guy. That way we can use the same setup. So let's look at the defense first. So it's got 3,100 shield hit points, 2,700 armor hit points. So we know that more than likely this is a shield tanking ship. And we're going to do the same setup. We're going to go in the highs, we're going to do auto cannons. Oh, that's something I didn't go over. But if you look at, how do I pull up the thing here? If we look here, this is something that I should have said on the CARACAL, but we want to equip what the boosts are for, what the bonuses are. So here we have medium cannon accuracy fall off and plus 5% flight velocity. So we're going to look at the medium cannon accuracy fall off. That means we want to fit medium cannons to this build. When we look at the CARACAL, this has a missile bonus, medium missile and torpedo operation bonus. So we know that we want to fit missiles for that ship. So anytime you're getting into a ship, you just want to click down and hold and look what the bonus is for. That way you know what type of weapon to fit, because you don't want to fit missiles to a Stabber because you don't get the bonus. So you always want to check out the bonus. Let's click on this and go to fitting. So we want medium autocannons, Mark 5. I believe this is an autocannon. Yep. So we're going to fit these. Let's go ahead and fit everything just so we can see what our DPS is. And to be honest, my DPS is going to be much different than yours because I have no skills for this. So really we didn't need to do this, but we might as well. It doesn't take too long. In the mids, I'm going to do medium NOS. You could also switch out one NOS per web, which will allow you to slow down frigates. But for me personally, there's so much tracking. If you look at this, where's the tracking? Tracking speed, 48.9. Well, that's actually pretty bad, but I don't think that's particularly accurate right now. Let's wait till we fit this whole thing out, and then we'll take a look. Oh, you know why it's so low? It's because I haven't trained up the skills. So we're gonna do 2 medium NOS, and then in the lows, since it's a shield tank, we're gonna do the same exact thing. 2 shield boosters. And then Mark 5 afterburner, if I can find it. And then I haven't talked about drones, but if you can afford a medium drone, I'd go for a medium, but they're like 10 mil. So if you can't afford a medium drone, get like a light drone. I think they're called light drones. And you could even do a Mark 3, just so you get a little bit extra DPS. But so basically that's it. That would be the fit for the Stabber. And 130 DPS. I don't remember what we had in the CARACAL, but that's pretty good considering I have no skills trained for this. Actually, that might not be true. I might have medium autocannons to 4 that I got with the skill book. So defense is 9,678. So yeah, this is this is the fit I would do for the stabber. An OMEN trainer, I've already done a video on the OMEN trainer, but it's exactly the same type of setup. Hold on, let's repackage this one. Let's pull this up. So we know that when we look at the ship, it's going to be medium laser operation, so we're going to equip medium lasers. On the OMEN, I recommend pulse lasers because it gives more DPS. Pulse lasers are short range and beam lasers are long range. So if you're doing like a T7, you might need to put in beam lasers so that you can damage from afar. But for me personally, I like the most DPS I can get. So I always do whatever gives me the most DPS, which on the OMEN is pulse lasers. So let's take a look at the fitting. So again, Mark V medium pulse lasers. If you can afford to get a named weapon, you could. Like I have these Joust medium pulses, and they give 31 DPS compared to 25. So that's a pretty significant increase of about 5 or 6. And let's see how much these cost. 30,000. Like if you're willing to go to JITA, 30,000. And that's worth it because you're getting, you know, a bunch more DPS and yeah. So you could check that out on the auto cannons and even for the CARACAL for the medium missiles. So we're doing pulse lasers. The one thing to note about pulse lasers is that they take energy to fire your weapons. So we have to keep that in mind when we're building our build. And that's one of the reasons why you really need the medium NOS, especially on this ship. Oh, you know what we didn't check is the defense. So on the OMEN, there's 2409 shield hit points and 3274 armor hit points. So we definitely know this is an armor tank ship. And what's nice about armor tank ships is the resists are usually better than on shields. Because on shield, EM is always 0. So sometimes it's good if you have more slots to put like an armor hardener. Not an armor hardener. Like a shield adaptive something or other that gives you more resist. But personally, I find that 2 shield boosters or 2 medium armor reps outperforms like 1 shield booster or 1 armor rep and 1 hardener. So without further ado, let's set this up with some medium armor repairs. And again, we want the best ones that we can get for the money. You can always check out the price on the market to see exactly which like maybe you can buy a named one that gives you more performance and it doesn't cost that much. So you just have to check that out. And then again, I want an afterburner. The afterburner has 2 advantages. One, you can orbit the NPCs and take less damage because they can't track you as well. And 2, when you kill everything, you can get to your loot faster. If you're having a hard time with the afterburner, you can always put an armor hardener. And let me just show you, like this is the only one I have for shields, but it gives you 31% resistant for all the shields. And then for the armor hardeners, hopefully I haven't passed it yet. These reactive armors, a Mark V, will give you 10% for armor resistances. So you could swap that out for the afterburner if you're finding that you can't tank very well. So the last ship we have here is the VEXOR trainer. And let's strip fittings. Let's stack all these. Just to clean up the inventory real quick. Let's take a look at the VEXOR. So a VEXOR is a drone boat. As you can see, medium drone operation bonus per level. So on this, the VEXOR is like one of the, I won't say it's one of the more expensive things to fit, but each medium drone costs about 7 to 10 mil. So to get 5, that's 50 mil. Well, this one only allows 4, so to get 4, that's about 40 mil just on drones. But I know some people that have done quite well with the VEXOR, so don't let that price turn you off if you're a drone person. But you won't get bonuses to small drones. So on the VEXOR, you definitely want the medium drones. And so let's take a look at the fitting. The VEXOR, you can pretty much put whatever weapons you want on the top because you're not getting any bonuses to these high slots. So for me, since I have missile skills, I would put rapids on there. If you have railgun skills, you would put railguns. If you have autocannons, you would do autocannons, etc. If you're not sure what to do, for the VEXOR, usually Galente uses, they use, what are they called? Let's look for it. Not railguns. They use, I can't think of the name. We'll find them. Just bear with me. You know what? I don't have any, apparently. Unless... It's not railguns. It's, here, let's do this. Let's look in the market. Blasters, that's what it is. Galente usually uses blasters for short range, and do they even have blasters? I guess they don't, so I guess you would do railguns. You could do anything you want. So for me, if you don't have anything, it just depends like what ships you're going to fly in the future. So if you're going to fly Galente, which you most likely are, let's look at the other ships, the battle cruisers, and see what weapons they use. So a Myrmidon uses drone, armor repair. Yeah, so they don't really show any kind of specific weapons. Let's look at the Brutix. They use railguns. So I guess I would suggest using railguns for the VEXOR, just because that's what Galente kind of uses in the future. So if you're gonna advance down the Galente path, you're gonna probably be using railguns. Rifled railguns give more range, and the snub nose are up close and personal. I don't fly this ship, so I'm not entirely sure which one. Let's look at the range. 10. Optimal range. So this would give you more range. I think what you would want to do is do the rifled. So let's fit the rifled on there. In the mids, you're going to be at range with this build, so you're probably going to want, I don't know, I would just put Nas on there anyway. And then for the drones, I don't have any Mark V mediums, but you'd want to get all mediums in there for your mid slots. And if you're wondering which ones to go for, I would recommend the hammerheads, which is thermal damage. But it really depends what you're going to be fighting, because if you're fighting primarily like one faction or another, they're going to have certain resists that you're going to be able to use that will do more damage over time. But again, I don't know those off the top of my head. And then for the VEXOR, I'm pretty sure it's armor tanking. Yeah, 2900 versus 2500. So in the lows, you'd want to go 2 armor reps. And then on this, I might actually switch out the afterburner and go for a drone control unit or a drone navigation. What does this do? Flight velocity adjustment. Increases the flying speed of drones. That's not probably too useful. What's this one? Tracking link. Enhances the range and tracking speed of drones. I'd probably do this one because it's going to give you more range on your drones and better tracking speed. So let's go with an omnidirectional tracking rig. And our capacitor, our power grid is pretty much full. I think my game froze. There we go. And I apologize, but I'm not going to buy 4 medium drones just to see what the DPS is. But that's probably the fit I would go with. For me personally, I would probably put Rapids in the top because I know that the Rapids can take out frigates and destroyers pretty easily, and for me personally, that's what I would be focused on. But you do have drones on here, so it could, I don't know, I would play around with it. I might try the snub-nosed. Let's see what the range is on this. Oh, that's terrible range. That's what, 3.5 kilometers? That means you have to be like right up on them. And even the frigates sometimes orbit you at like 10, so without an afterburner, it might be difficult to hit with these snub-nosed. Yeah, I just know missiles will hit, so if you don't care about what weapons you go with and what you're training, you might think about doing missiles. But again, if you're planning on being in a railgun later on, it makes more sense to train up those skills now rather than cross-train into missiles and then having to cross-train back into railguns later on. So we'll just leave it at this, and then let's just take a look at some other ships on the market, and I'll just tell you, like, okay, what do we fit? What do we... let's look at some frigates. No, let's look at destroyers. So if you're just getting into like a trainer, let's look at the Corax trainer. Missiles, so you're going to do missiles on this ship, small missiles. And then if we take a look at the trait or the attributes, this is a shield tank because, as you can see, 986 shield, 666 armor, 676 structure. So you would want to shield tank this ship. Let's take a look at some of the other ones. Talwar trainer, missiles. Again, this is probably going to be a shield tanking ship. Yep, shield tanking. So I just kind of want to show you how you find out, is this a shield tank, is this an armor tank? Let's take a look at the Courser 2. This is the ship I went with when I was first starting out. Small lasers, so that's good. And then attributes, 991 versus 673, so we know this is an armor tank. What else? Dragoon trainer is pretty popular. This is a drone ship, so if you're in this ship, you're probably going to advance to the VEXOR. And this will be armor tanking. So yeah, that's pretty much it. What else? Yeah, we pretty much covered everything. How to look at the ship bonuses to determine what type of weapons to fit, and then determining if it's an armor or shield tanking, and yeah, that's about it. So if you have any questions or comments, leave them below, give it a thumbs up, and if you have any suggestions for other videos or if I missed anything, let me know. Alright, I'm signing out.